We got a ton of news to cover on today's show. Bray Wyatt, one of the most talked about people released by WWE this year, is going Hollywood, and that's not all. Could we have an issue backstage with Xavier Woods, King Woods? Is there a problem with the UpUpDownDown channel that he is apparently not doing content for anymore that WWE owns? Oh no, more backstage drama-rama. We'll get into all of it and much, much more. It's Sportskeeda Wrestling's top story of the day. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Oh, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. What's up, everybody? Go ahead and share that link so you don't stink. Go ahead and hit the like button, smash like and subscribe. All those different things you're supposed to do on the internet. A lot to get into. I am Kellam. That is Jeremy Bennett. How we doing, Jeremy? 2 beards, 1 screen.
Good. That sounded dirty, but yeah, good. Good stuff here. Doing good. The Bears got robbed last night.
Robbed. Robbed, I tells you. Robbed.
And
we had a solid episode of Monday Night Raw.
I am about an hour through it right now. I
watched it on Hulu, so I did the 90-minute Raw cut.
Oh, yeah. It
was quite enjoyable.
I think I'm to Adam Pearce's announcement with the Mysterios, so I'm catching up here. I'll try to get most of it done before NXT tonight.
All right, let's jump right into it. This news about Bray Wyatt. What do you think about this? This is from Metro UK. They can exclusively confirm that Bray Wyatt is indeed working on a film and will begin shooting it, whatever this film is. We don't know. We don't know any plots. We don't know if this is a big franchise. We don't know if this is an original story. We don't know anything. All we know is that Bray Wyatt is indeed going Hollywood. This follows up a tweet a few weeks ago from the same person, the source, who's been working with him on the film, who tweeted it out from the Warner Brothers lot, or at least apparently from the Warner Brothers studio lot.
Yeah, so Ichi the Killer meets Xanadu. I'm not familiar with either one of those movies, but that is what they call
Ichi the Killer is a pretty brutal movie.
Yeah.
Xanadu is an out there musical, like a really musical.
So this fits Bray Wyatt then, I guess is what we could say. But
yes.
Yeah, they said they're going in a whole new direction, and fans of horror and fans of Wyndham were gonna like it. So not much else has really surfaced in regards to that. But
shout out to everyone watching the show for the first time. Justin's on board with it. He says, all right, Bray. He's pretty cool with it. Molly's on board with it as well. Thank you for coming back, Molly. Always enjoy seeing you. I think he could be a big star in horror movies. It's the realm he should be in, and what they're describing as a horror movie. The studio that's a part of this as well made his mask and was involved with the production elements of the Firefly Funhouse. I've talked to some people that worked on the Firefly Funhouse, and they always said that there was some talk. There was always, whenever they would do a Firefly Funhouse, this is somebody who had some creative relationship with the project, there's always talk of doing some type of movie. Now, that means we're getting a Firefly Funhouse movie that WWE is not going to let that happen. They own it. It's their IP. It was created in their company. You know what I mean? Like, it's theirs. But could we see something that's vaguely like that? I don't know. My assumption is no, because I don't think anyone would want to deal with the legal ramifications of that.
I don't know how you could really stretch a movie out of that either. So I think the best they could do is what they did with that John Cena thing at WrestleMania, a couple years ago. But I don't think you could really do a movie out of the Firefly Funhouse. This is going to be more.
Well, who says they're even doing like a full feature-length film? You know,
that's true.
You can do with digital stuff now. You can do shorts that are still that just as many people will see and enjoy.
Yeah,
you don't have to go. You don't have to go the theatrical route. A lot of different people are going in a different direction. So, if you're just joining us, Bray Wyatt he is indeed going Hollywood. This is something that we theorized when he got released in July, that this could be a future for him. And there was news that things like this were offered to him when he was in WWE, and it just never really happened. He did a lot of wild cinematic matches. He did a lot of crazy vignettes. He knows how to find the camera in these types of situations and create really messed up characters.
Yeah.
So it'll certainly be interesting to see how this goes here. Mike Satunda is saying right up his alley here. So,
yeah, it looks like they're going to start filming at the end of the month here. So pretty soon.
Yeah. Some people say Bray Wyatt takes a wrong turn. Have you ever seen the Wrong Turn horror series? Yeah. You can see that here. And Eric already wants new merch. Is it true that Bray has new merch? I don't know about that. I don't know if he has new merch yet.
I'm sure he'll open a PWT store eventually.
Yeah.
Matter of time. Once the time is right, now that the 90 day is up, he's free to do that. Now he's free to sell. Yes, Jose had been saying that for a long time about how that was gonna be kind of the direction for Bray for Wyndham going forward. So I don't know. And Bray doesn't, and Wyndham doesn't necessarily have to have a wrestling deal to open up a store in PWTs either. So he could do horror themed merch through them. He could do it through a different distributor. It's really a lot of options that he really can have here. So
tell us what horror franchise you would want to see Bray Wyatt inserted into. Like, would you want to see him like in a Michael Myers movie, like in a Halloween movie? Would you want to see him in that? Would you want to see him be the new Freddy Krueger? Would you want to see him just do his own thing?
That'd be kind of cool if they had him like in a Freddy Krueger role. But I mean, they've tried to reboot that movie.
Prime time, bitch. When he
shows her through the TV.
Yes,
that's awesome.
This is a big shot.
I believe
he always had to say. He always said that was like, I remember that was a really aggressive time in the 80s and 90s. Those Nightmare on Elm Street films, and he would slaughter people in their dreams, right? And he would always call people bitch. Like that was like a big thing for him to say that. Other people sounding off on this thing here, like that's great for Bray. They're excited for this. And DJ Eric says he'll make a great psycho killer. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's not going to play a non-psychotic character. I don't think he's going to play a fairly sane character here. Our very own Jose, who could be with us today physically, he says Bray Wyatt is Willy Wonka. Yeah, give him a crazy Willy Wonka thing here. So this would be nuts. People losing their mind here. Molly says, what about Hellraiser? And make him the new Pinhead. But then he'd have to lose the dreads. He'd have to like lose his hair and go bald.
He'd have to undergo a lot of makeup to hide that hair.
Eric wants to see him in the Howling, which is that's a deep thing. I know there's a lot of horror movie wrestling fans, a lot of crossovers there. You always
how about we come up with something unique instead of remaking everything?
I think so too. But that's what Hollywood does now. It's a fun conversation. It's a fun conversation.
He'd be an interesting American Psycho kind of character because he's got that goody side with his with the Firefly Funhouse, and then he can turn demonic. So I think he could play both sides of kind of an American Psycho type of character as well.
Mm-hmm. All right, jump on screen. Let us know what you guys think. Sound off if you guys are with us all the time. We want to hear from you. If you're with us for the first time, we want to hear from you. Jump into the comments below. A lot of people checking out our interview that we just dropped today with Billy Gunn of All Elite Wrestling. Billy Gunn of All Elite Wrestling giving us a great conversation, kind of talking about All Elite Wrestling, where they are now, how CM Punk was such a paradigm shift, what it was like to be backstage when he debuted. A lot of really fun stuff, so definitely go check that out. Our very own Raju did a great job on that. That interview is up right now. Pretty cool stuff. We have some other big interviews coming out later this week, so keep an eye on our channel. And if you haven't done already, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. On YouTube, we are over 22,000 subscribers, marching towards 23,000. Can you get us there? Can you get us to 23,000 by Survivor Series? I think that's a doable goal. If you know any wrestling fans, go ahead and tag them in the comments. Let them know what's going on here. A lot of news today to follow up here. Xavier Woods, speaking of YouTube, Xavier Woods started the UpUpDownDown gaming channel, which became very, very successful. And at some point in the past few years, WWE bought the channel and then kind of employed everyone that worked on it. There are several other gaming creators who have their own channels that contribute content to it that are also a part of the channel. There's plenty of WWE people that were part of the channel. There's some people that are no longer wrestling in WWE that still contribute content to the channel. But there has now come out a report with a lot less content coming out from it. Xavier Woods, the figurehead of this video gaming channel, is no longer doing it because apparently he's not being compensated enough. What's the skinny here?
Yeah, I mean, basically, if you go back to the channel, there has really not been much content in the past month at all. 3 weeks ago is the last actual video. There's a couple of videos that were posted 3 weeks ago and 6 days ago that were less than a minute long. So they really haven't had their regular run of content in some time, at least over a month. And Fightful Select has reported this morning that there's a good reason why you're not seeing that content. They have learned that many of the content creators associated with Up, Up, Down, Down have stopped making content for the brand in solidarity with Xavier Woods, as they feel like he is getting taken advantage of by a bad deal with Up, Up, Down, Down. Fightful was told that they do not plan on posting new content until Woods gets a better deal. WWE, of course, owns the brand. Woods sold it years ago. Those that appear on the shows are paid for it. And those people that they've spoken to on the WWE's digital end said that they agreed Woods should have been paid more for growing the channel, which has about 2.25 million people subscribed to it right now. And, of course, encouraging more new faces to get involved, completely separate of the years ago where it was in WWE's hands. It was stressed that doesn't mean it's the end of Up, Up, Down, Down, and ideally things would resume as normal if the situation is rectified. In the meantime, a lot of people have been that were associated with that channel have been released or left the company. Adam Cole, Tyler Breeze, Jessamine Duke, Mia Yim are all were major contributors to that channel, and so quite interesting that they have not been producing. I didn't even realize it until I went back and looked, but yeah, they have not been producing content for nearly a month now.
It is interesting here, and mind you, this is a Fightful report. We have not heard this confirmed by WWE or, by Xavier Woods himself. He did go to Saudi Arabia. He is obviously still wrestling. He continued to do the channel the entire time he was wrestling. And this is something Stephen Chambers says, put it on G4. G4 is the new video gaming channel, released the newly revived video gaming channel, owned by Comcast and NBC Universal, same company that WWE has their streaming deal with for Peacock. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, that relaunch is a week from today.
A week from today. So I think maybe some of it plays into that too, and say like, hey, if I'm going to do this on top of everything I'm doing for G4, I want this. It may not just be money either, but it's purely speculation. And Jeff Samuel saying Woods is getting the respect. I think he should be a Royal Rumble winner. Interesting if you do pick him or Roman. Xavier Woods is not like he's in a bad spot right now in WWE. Otherwise,
no,
he is the king of the ring. He won the tournament that he always wanted to win. And he won it in a big way at one of WWE's biggest shows of the year, Crown Jewel, whether you like it or not, is one of the biggest shows of the year and is one of their biggest shows they've done since the pandemic in terms of crowds and notoriety, and was a pretty strong show. It was a well-received move. And this past week, he was on the most watched wrestling TV show in the world in the main angle, and he's gonna wrestle the top wrestler in the world on Friday. So he's not in a bad position in WWE. So everyone's like, oh, this means he's oh boy, like CRC says he's going to AEW confirmed, like because he doesn't like this video game channel. I don't think that's the case. I do not think that's the case at all. I don't think that's the case here. So other people with different things here. Jason's shouting out. He goes, shouting this one up. He goes, Jeremy Kev, do you like Woods? Question about Survivor Series on WWE Fox Twitter. The winner or the loser. I don't know what the question is exactly on the Twitter. I don't have it in front of me though. It is interesting with what was going on and how things have been framed with Xavier Woods and the New Day and Kofi being attacked and his leg being attacked and all these different things that they did on SmackDown, this big angle that he is not leading a team against Roman Reigns and the Usos and the Bloodline. It kind of like writes itself. Yeah. But we are going to get Big E versus Roman Reigns. And it's going to be champion versus champion, similar to what they did last year with Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns, which I thought was one of the best WWE matches last year. I thought that was an absolute fantastic match, and they built it up well. They do have some time here to get to that. WWE's doing a lot of different things. They're featuring the people that are in these big Survivor Series tag team matches, but these just seem like weird holdovers of everything else they're doing on TV. It's just like, why don't we have any build or stakes to this? Mine's take. What do you think of the build so far for Survivor Series?
Yeah, I know. I thought it was a little weird that they announced the teams on social media over the weekend. It kind of shows you how much they really think about this and don't really care about the actual traditional match. There really hasn't.
I wouldn't say they don't care about it, but I think they more want it treated as like a stepping stone to all these other things when it should be more of a conclusive chapter ending type thing.
I mean, if we're doing brand versus brand, there should be some crossover and these champions be on the other show and set up these matches instead of just doing it through promos.
Did the draft. They just did the draft.
Oh yeah, you notice the whole Raw team is all SmackDown people from before the draft. So, but yeah, you know, I have not liked their build to Survivor Series over the past few years, ever since they've done this idea, because they just haven't really made it look important. They haven't really built it well. All they've done is promos. They've never had anybody cross over during these things. It just seems like it's just not high on the importance list. It just doesn't feel like it's one of the big four like it should be. And they should be doing cross promotions instead of just talking from show to show via promo. You know, there just really isn't any kind of build to these matches.
Everything they're kind of building isn't really about, like, everything that's been announced for the Survivor Series isn't what's being built on TV, you know? Like, so are they already looking past this towards the big day one pay-per-view on New Year's Day? Like, is it like, I don't know if that's the case.
I mean, they've already announced all champions are facing the other champions, so that's already in the books. And so, you know, they announced that on Raw. So it's, you know, but they still got a couple weeks, so maybe they can get some of that crossover. But it is just not, WWE is just not treated this as one of the big four for years now, in my opinion.
And part of it is, I think, the Money in the Bank show kind of eclipses it in terms of that role and what it does and how it sets other things up. Survivor Series doesn't really set up Royal Rumble. There's a lot of things they do in December and January that do that too. So a lot of people with different takes here. There are several matches announced for this. Obviously, Raw Women's Champion versus SmackDown Women's Champion. This is the one I actually think has the most build to it because of the controversy of how they change those titles. It'll be Becky versus Charlotte. Stephen Chambers wants it in a cage. I wouldn't mind that being in a cage. You know, throw something in there, add something to it. I wouldn't mind that. Make it a little interesting here. Let's go backstage here. We do have news about Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green was released by WWE in late 2020, I believe. And this one was kind of unceremonious, big group release. It was very, very sad. She suffered an arm injury on her SmackDown debut and didn't get to, you know, really get a run in WWE. She did some things in NXT. And there was a lot of people that had a lot of great aspirations to what she's going to do in the company. And it just didn't work out. Pandemic, all these different things. Now we learn that she has learned recently that when she signed a deal with Ring of Honor Wrestling in 2020, that part of that deal was weird. It was weird at the beginning because someone, she says, and the top brass of WWE NXT reached out to Ring of Honor and said, do not sign her. So you have a released WWE Superstar, someone from the WWE, we don't know who.
This actually all happened this year because she got cut in April of this year.
I'm sorry, so, I'm mixing up my years.
And then she debuted at the start of the tournament for the Women of Honor that Roxy ended up winning. So she actually, I think that was her first appearance after NXT was showing up on Ring of Honor. Then, of course, now she's prominently featured on Impact with her husband or fiance, Matt Cardona. But yeah, weird situation when someone, you know, is someone laying off as many people as they have this year. This was part of those massive cuts in April of 2021. And, you know, and they're trying to tell someone else to not sign them. I think that's just pretty petty, especially with all the people they have fired this year.
I don't know if this was a company move or maybe just someone she had an issue with. So we just know it's someone from WWE, right? We don't know if this is a WWE move. You know, she didn't say who it was. It's kind of interesting to say the least here. Numbers coming in from Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw down about 8%. 1.689 million average overnight viewers. That is for Monday Night Raw, though. It did drop in the third hour down to about a 1.3. Drop? 0.40. And the key 18 to 49 demographic, this is down 15% from the week before. You did have a big Bears game. You know, you had the Bears, a big major team against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Monday Night Football. And that Monday Night Football game did really, really well in viewership and was an entertaining game. So it's kind of hard when you have that tough competition. Certainly interesting stuff here to see what WWE's doing backstage. Other people, Paul Savage saying, AEW needs to cut their talents. There's way too many people or have a brand split. What do you think of that?
I don't know. I don't think they really need to. I think they're doing just fine as it is right now.
Here's another thing: is they don't have a lot of contracted people.
No,
like
no.
everyone thinks everyone's like locked into guaranteed deals. There's plenty of people that are only paid per date with them. Like there's a lot of people that are only per date with them based on tier deal.
Speaking of AEW, if you get a chance today, go to the playerstribune.com. A just tremendous article by Eddie Kingston about his life and struggles and things like that. Just a tremendous article by Eddie Kingston today on the Players Tribune, which is a site where many players write articles and things for the site. So go check that out today, because that's a hell of a piece by Eddie Kingston.
I've not been able to read it yet. I've worked with Eddie a handful of times at AAW in Chicago, and he's, I will easily say, one of the most entertaining, captivating, and real people I've ever met. There is no character that he plays.
Yeah.
He is what he says he is. He is a guy from the streets. He is a guy who's spent time in a correctional facility. He is that type of guy. That isn't an act. And he can turn it on so fast and so quickly. And it's very compelling. And I'm looking forward to having that in a read. I'm saving that for a commute. Hopefully tonight when I'm heading to an open mic, I'm going to read that.
Yeah, it was a hell of a promo with him and Punk on Friday, man.
What do you think of that match? That's coming up this Saturday. We have AEW Full Gear. We'll have a whole bunch of Full Gear coverage. We'll be on the media call later this week. We'll have a special preview as well with Kenny Bolin, legendary manager Kenny Bolin, going to be on with us. What do you think of the card and how the cards come together?
It's good. It's looking pretty good. I mean, Eddie Kingston, CM Punk's going to be tremendous. We all know that the main event with Hangman and Kenny is going to probably be a classic, probably be up there with match of the year. And pretty interesting to see Bryan Danielson and Miro. I mean, I think they fought once maybe in WWE. I can't remember.
Not a lot. They definitely had a singles match or two, but I don't think they ever had a major program.
It's a unique. I think it's going to be a career-making moment for Miro. I think Jon Moxley was supposed to win this and turn heel. I think he was supposed to be a heel character before he decided to go into rehab. So I think they said the next best thing is to what other monster heel can we throw in there, and that be Miro. I don't think he's going to take the title from Paige. I don't think Paige is going to be a transitional champion, but I think Miro is going to win and be the next one up in that title picture.
So you think Miro's going to beat Danielson here?
Yep, I do.
This will be probably his biggest win yet. Even bigger than him having the TNT title would be him beating Bryan Danielson at this point, with the role that Bryan Danielson on and the hype around him coming to AEW. It certainly would be interesting to see that play out. This, I would say, for me, the two most interesting matches on this card are the Danielson match, because it's had so many different changes, and people wanted something out of Miro, and there wasn't a place for him on the show. And here, with Mox dropping out, there is. It's kind of compelling and interesting in that regard.
Yeah, and
I really think the Hangman Page Kenny Omega match is. They don't have to put much more hype into this. You know what I mean? They don't have to put much more hype in this. I was really into the tournament final. The tournament started lightly for me, and I thought it got better as it went on.
Yeah.
But then you had this Kingston Punk thing. They had a hellacious promo. I wonder how mean and violent that match is going to be. It's a pretty solid show. I mean, you're asking people to spend $50 on pay-per-view. They're not putting any shallow matches on this. All Out had maybe one match that people weren't super interested in.
You got a past, present, and future match with Darby and MJF. I mean, they're basically the past, the present, and the future of that company. Inner Circle and Top Team is going to be just a wild brawl. It'll be fun to watch Dan Lambert get his ass kicked. The Super Click and Jurassic Express and Christian Cage is interesting, because it sounds like Nick Jackson might not be able to wrestle. We'll have to stay tuned on the news on that, but he might have gotten hurt. So there might be a
bone bruise.
Yeah, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. And FTR and Lucha Brothers are going to tear the house down. They do tag team wrestling right in that company. That's going to be another classic, so to speak. And then you got the women's title. I don't know. I don't think it's time to take it off Britt yet. She's too hot. She's a heel, but gets the pops. Ty Conti is a great wrestler, and I think it's going to be a Thunder Rosa or Ruby Soho that take that off of Britt eventually. I don't think the time to take it off of her is going to be on Saturday.
This is an interesting question. Christopher Ryan Cooper. Do you think we'll see Okada in AEW when he comes to the United States? Kazuchika Okada recently won the G1 Climax tournaments. He is one of the most talked about wrestlers in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Obviously, AEW and New Japan have a relationship, and they've featured some New Japan talent. Minoru Suzuki having a big match there. Yuji Nagata, Mox holding the United States Championship for IWGP. All these different things. That would be a big deal. If they could get Okada, it would be a very, very massive deal. It's worth noting, I don't think you're going to see any New Japan people appear on this pay-per-view. And the reason for that is because, for whatever reason, I don't know why this was planned. Why is there a New Japan pay-per-view on Saturday called Battle in the Valley? This will be in California. It'll feature some big matches. Okada will be on the card. It'll be a very rare United States pay-per-view match for him. And I'm just so... that makes me think maybe this relationship isn't that like in sync anymore. Is that worth bringing up? But at the same time, we have Rocky Romero from New Japan is going to be in a ring with Bryan Danielson this Wednesday. He's kind of skipped the line there with everybody at AEW, and he'll be doing some big stuff for them.
And you still got Finn Juice working Impact. I mean, they're still got a relationship with Impact currently too. Of course, Juice Robinson's going to be a free agent here pretty soon. Jay White is going to be a free agent pretty soon as well. So there's a couple of big names that are possibly, especially with Juice Robinson, who is, you kind of wonder if now he wants to maybe test the waters with a full-time career in the States where, it didn't work out in NXT. He kicked ass in Japan. So it'll be I
just don't understand why you're running a pay-per-view the same night.
No.
I just don't get it. It just doesn't make. I've asked a couple of.
Is it at night too, or is it afternoon?
It's California, so I mean, I guess they're doing it specific time. I don't know the specific times in front of you. It's on Fight. You can get on Fight. So it's not like it's not available, but I just don't know why you would go with that conflict. You know what I mean? You're asking fans of that same kind of slice of the pie to go with you there.
Yeah.
Here's a question before we sign off. Tyron saying, what are your guys' thoughts about maybe the New Day versus the Bloodline in an elimination match? There's a lot of people thought they were going in that direction. They did the Bloodline versus the New Day on Raw, I want to say about a month ago, early October. And people thought that was kind of like a hot shot thing with Roman Reigns and the Usos taking on the New Day. And it was a kind of sort of a dream match in terms of marquee talent, and that they were going to do. And people were mad. Why aren't you just holding this out for Survivor Series? Is that still a possibility for Survivor Series? I would say no, because they've already announced the title match, where Big E and Roman Reigns are going to face each other, and you have all these other things. I almost think they would do that on television again. I almost think they would do that on SmackDown.
So New Japan is going to basically run into the last hour of Full Gear. It's going to be 10 o'clock Central.
Okay, so they're just going to run they're going to start when the final hour,
but
I don't know if there's going to be a rollover audience for that. I just don't know.
I was scrolling through the live events coming up, and Fight TV's having some slap fight competitions coming up soon.
Hey, and also you can check out AAW November 26th, Windy City Classic. We're gonna have a big one. Matt
Turkey.
Fitch, he won the Lineham Memorial Tournament. Will be taking on Fred Yehai. Silas Young, fresh off of Ring of Honor, will be in action as well. Sky Blue taking on Allison Kay.
The last real man.
I can tell you that I've been in a room with him. He is legitimately a real man.
He's a man.
I can confirm that he is real. Yes. CRC always with. Thank you so much, CRC. I appreciate you guys for watching the show, supporting Mr. James Espanto Fernando Tagay. All right, thank you so much here. SC, I want to try and find your question here before we sign off. I don't want to sign off here. I want to find your question here. If you can post it again. You just had it. I can't find it. There's a million messages on the screen here.
You go look for that. You go look for that, and we'll talk about here. Tom Lawler, of course, filthy Tom Lawler is no longer with MLW. I would not be surprised if he shows up. I don't know if he's really a top team guy though, but
I don't believe
he's an MMA guy.
Yeah.
So maybe he shows up and helps the inner circle.
Should be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you find that other question?
Here we go. From SC Williams. Kevin and Jeremy, what was interesting on Raw was that WWE official Adam Pearce, yes, in an angle, put Dominic Mysterio in a winner or he's off, win a match or you're off the Survivor Series team that he's already been announced for. And Adam Pearce said he made a mistake putting Dominic on the team, so he needed to test him because the team he's on features nothing but former WWE champions. So they put him in there with Bobby Lashley, and Bobby Lashley wrecked him and wrecked Rey Mysterio. And I like this model of a monster destroying the Mysterio family. It worked with Brock Lesnar. It was one of the coolest things they did at Survivor Series 2019. Find a new way to do it with a new monster. Now, you're trying to connect the dots here, SC, and say that Adam Pearce did this to build up Lashley to give us Lashley versus Lesnar or a Brock return at Survivor Series. If Brock returns, he's dealing with Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
The Lashley Lesnar match is something you can do after WrestleMania. I actually think that's something that will be held as an attraction for after WrestleMania. If you're asking me to guess,
Could be SummerSlam. Could be SummerSlam next year.
Would be a great match for SummerSlam, and you're only gonna have a handful of Brock Lesnar matches on this current deal.
Yeah.
So you don't want to, not waste a big one. I think you're gonna get that Lashley Lesnar match, and you're gonna get it at the right time. And that I think that is the way to do it, And there's plenty of other people that Lesnar can have these big matches with. Him and Drew McIntyre had a short one at WrestleMania, but it was in front of no fans.
I wonder. I haven't gotten to this spot in Raw yet, but you didn't really spoil it for me. I knew that this happened, but I haven't watched it play out quite yet. But I do notice that Adam Pearce was starting to get some boos from the crowd too. So I'm wondering if they're kind of
heel heat.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to make him making him heel, but I don't know.
I'm wondering. Did a heel thing. Hey,
I'm wondering,
Dominic Mysterio, we're going to hand you to this muscle machine. It's going to wreck you in front of your father.
I'm wondering if they were, for some reason, just waiting to see if MVP was going to be able to return from his injury before putting Lashley in there, but didn't have that confirmation last weekend. So they just went with Dominic and then realized that MVP is going to now be available. And so then they did this wherever. I don't know. I can't really explain why they did what they did, to be honest. It was really interesting. So unless it's to further the heel turn we've all been waiting on, and for Dom, I don't know. It was kind of a weird thing they did last night.
Thank you guys so much for checking out the show. I appreciate it. Jeremy, you're busy with your podcast on the side as well.
Yeah, Lost in the Mid Card. We'll be recording here after Dynamite tomorrow night. We will be giving our takes on Dynamite, basically fresh off the show, and give our full gear predictions and talk about. We were off last week, so we'll probably talk a little bit about the releases as well, and that'll be out for you early Thursday evening. So just search for Lost in the Mid Card in the podcast form. Make sure you select the new feed, because that's our latest feed, or YouTube. We got a video version of that. We'd like to have you come over and subscribe to YouTube. Just search for Lost in the Mid Card.
Of course, I will be live on pay-per-view with AAW Windy City Classic 2021, our biggest show of the year, closing out the year big. Alex Zane from WWE NXT will make his AAW debut.
Bringing that sauce.
Myron Reed will be on the card. Fred Yehi, the AEW heavyweight champion, will defend against Matt Fitchett. Silas Young will be in action. Allison Kay will defend the AAW Women's Championship against Sky Blue. A lot to look forward to on the show. You can get it anywhere in the world on Fight TV, fight.tv. That's FITE. The app available in Apple smart TVs, Roku's, all the different things, your desktop computers. And you can get tickets to the show. It's at 115 Bourbon Street in the south side of Chicago. Definitely come out. You'll have a great time. Well worth it. I believe we have general admission tickets starting on $20. So it's going to be a great show. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to talking to all the talent backstage. I am AAW, babe. AAW Club for life, baby. So definitely go and check it out. AAWpro.com. If I get a promo code as well for tickets, by the way, guys, I will share that with you on my Twitter. Give me a follow at Kev Kellam. That's KEVKELLAM. Thank you guys so much for watching the show. Remember, when watching wrestling, do the most important thing, which is what, Jeremy?
It is enjoy wrestling.
Enjoy it.